Hello and welcome to Boonatix, the channel for Simracing beginners and enthusiasts alike. In today's video I'm going to talk about the mixed races GT3 versus GT4 cars in Assetto Corsa Competizione. Since the release of the new GT4 DLC for the game, there has been a lot of discussions, some complaints, a lot of questions in various Reddits and forums alike. So I'm gonna give you some insights, some tips and tricks, and outline some rules and some race driver etiquette in this video. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button for any future update around Assetto Corsa Competizione and Simracing videos on my channel, and enjoy this video. So the first thing I keep reading in Reddits and forums is people like saying, well, GT4 cars are slower, GT3 cars are faster, so a GT4 car should let a GT3 driver pass as soon as possible and as easy as possible without any issues. And that's wrong. As long as you're on the same lap, GT3 and GT4 are equal, like in a real race against each other. Of course, a GT3 car is way faster, has more traction and a better handling than a GT4 car. So you are coming up from behind as a GT3 driver to a GT4 car, and the race driver etiquette and race rules are always the same no matter in which car you are. If you are approaching from behind and you want to overtake someone, you are the one responsible for a clean and fair overtaking maneuver. So when you are approaching a GT4 car, you have to wait for a good opportunity to pass in a clean and fair manner. I know. I can already hear some of you saying, hey, but GT4 cars are generally slower than GT3 cars, so they will always qualify behind the GT3 cars at the end of the field, and there will only be overtaking maneuvers when lapping them, and that's a totally different thing. Yeah, no. You see, there are many different race formats, and depending on the length of the race and the format, a lot of different things can happen. For example, pit stops, where GT3 cars suddenly find themselves behind a GT4 car. Crashes in a race that make you get into a pit, or you might just leave the track, spin out, have to get back, and suddenly the field is all mixed up and you are behind GT4 cars in a GT3, but in the same lap. So before we get into GT3, GT4 tips, guidance, rules, whatever you want to call it, let's differentiate. And let me give you a suggestion. If so far you have just been driving a GT3 car, you should definitely hop into a GT4 car. And why is that? Just so that you understand the differences in braking performance and top speed, and to get a feeling and better estimate if you are approaching a GT4 car in a race situation. And if you just started with the game, probably just with the GT4 DLC, and practiced a lot with GT4 cars, you should do the opposite. Hop into a GT3 car, get a feeling for the massive difference in aerodynamics, in grip and in speed, to know what's going on in a GT3 car that is approaching behind you. So let's head into what you should do as a GT3 driver. My top recommendations, tips, with maybe a little bit of rules into it. First thing, for your buttons and controls. Set buttons for indicators and for flashlight on your wheel, so that you can indicate left or right and use the flash to make sure an opponent sees you. Just a short explanation. Indicators are there to indicate where you are going to overtake or where you are going to move, not which side the other car has to move. So indicators are only here to indicate what you are going to do or what you want to do. If you are overtaking a slower GT4 car, you have the responsibility. This means that if you overtake, you need to leave enough space for the GT4 car on track. And to show you how it should not be done, check out this little clip. So as you saw in this clip, I was using the indicator in my AMG GT4 car, but for whatever reason, the Audi who was passing me wasn't really giving me any space and even pushing me off the track. So this is definitely not how you overtake a GT4 car. When overtaking a GT4 car, always use the overtaking line and expect the slower car in front of you to stick with the racing line. Do not get too close. Leave the slipstream earlier than you are used to, just to indicate to the GT4 car, hey, I'm already moving to the overtaking line, I'm going to overtake you now and start my maneuver. Especially then you should use your flash lights, but don't flash around like crazy, like you want to erase the memory of the driver in front of you. It's just an indicator for like, hey, I'm approaching, please notice me, I'm like, you know, starting my overtaking maneuver. It's not a, hey, move out, here I come, go, go, go away, move, get lost. Now, if there are 2 or even more GT4 cars fighting on the same lap like you are, and they are fighting for positions, then I'm sorry, mate, but you have to wait. That's just racing. The same also counts for qualifying. If you're approaching a GT4 who is on its flying lap, possibly doing the fastest lap time in history of GT4, you have to wait, or if possible, overtake him as quick and clean if there is really an opportunity for it. But honestly, you should just wait. That's racing. It can happen to anyone, everywhere, and there will be another opportunity. Now, it can happen that as a GT3 you have to start from the back of the grid, either because we're just unlucky, you were not able to do a good flying lap, or you crashed, or you missed qualifying and just popped into a multiplayer lobby where the race is about to begin. So please chill out, keep calm, and do not cause absolute chaos at the start. Yes, you basically can plow through the whole field when you have a good start with the benefit in acceleration, but just because you can doesn't mean that you should do it. Do it carefully, do it thoughtfully, use common sense. Races usually last longer than 20 or 30 minutes, and even then, so much can happen, so many things can happen in your favor and just hand you positions for free. So far for GT3 drivers. Now let's head to you GT4 drivers. The best tips and tricks I can give you, and also some rules to stick to. First off as well, set your indicators and the flashlight on your wheel. You might not need the flashlight, who knows, but you should definitely set it. Especially the indicators are there to indicate on which side you are going to move, not the side the other car should use for overtaking. So if you indicate to the left side, you move to the left side. If you indicate to the right side, you move to the right side. So let me just show you some examples of how it should be done. Now you just saw how easy this can be done, and actually how quickly a GT3 car can move in and overtake a GT4 car. Then one of the very important tips I can give you is always be aware of what's happening behind you at all times. Check your back mirror regularly, which is just, you know, a flick of your eyes, just a little flick, okay, nobody is behind me. Or another important tip, map the view back short key to also your steering wheel, so that with just a push of a button you can quickly look back if you don't see your mirror that well, to just, you know, update yourself on what's going on behind you. I do that myself basically every few seconds. If I know that there is someone behind me, if I know that there is no one behind me, I'll still check the mirrors and the back view camera, I don't know, maybe once or twice per lap. Always be predictable, stick to the racing line. Do not move around from left to right, trying to evade or make room and panic. Stick to your racing line, because the GT3 behind you is expecting you to stick to the racing line so he can move to the overtaking line and just move past you. You should expect the GT3 to go in without mercy. The sooner you expect that, the easier it gets, because a GT3 car is outbraking you on corner entry and outperforming you when exiting the corner. So if you notice a GT3 is really close behind you and you're approaching a corner, he might as well, you know, move to the overtaking line, and at this moment you should already be, okay, I'm just lifting my foot off the throttle a little bit and let him pass quickly to have a good line out of the corner, and that's it. Always be aware of your position and of the upcoming sections on the track. You know, it just might be reasonable to lift the throttle for a little bit on a long straight, like example in Spa after Radillion, or on Paul Ricard, or even on Monza or Misano. You know, it just makes it easier, and the overtaking maneuver is gone by very, very quickly and not giving anyone troubles, and just saves the both of you a lot of time. Very important here is that you should never brake unexpectedly on a straight or at any point on the track where you should not brake, like on the ideal line out of a corner or in the middle of the corner. Never brake just for the fun of it. Never brake as some sort of indication that you want the GT3 behind you to pass, because what then happens is the GT3 might think in that moment when he sees the brake lights, oh no, there's something crazy gonna happen, and he also smashes his brakes or does a mistake in trying to avoid you. So in general, to make like the overtaking maneuver an easier experience for you in a GT4 car, if you have a GT3 behind you, corner is approaching, he moves in, and maybe even, you know, right in front of you moves back and brakes for the corner, in that moment you should already be off the throttle and expect the braking point, and just, you know, be a bit earlier on the brakes, give him a bit of space, and, you know, to not overshoot the corner because you're in the drag, or, you know, have suddenly a car in front of you and don't know what to do. So in that moment, a GT3 is moving in for overtaking in a corner. Just get off the throttle, let it unfold, get back into the corner, and just accelerate out of it. And it will be over really quickly and easily for you both. So this was when, you know, you're all on the same lap. So when you're lapping another car, which will happen in longer mixed races very often, that when you're in a GT4 car, a GT3 car is lapping, it's very important to honor blue flags and make way as soon and as quick as possible without fighting for the position. But you should do it carefully and within the established rules and tips that I just gave you, while applying common sense. So do not get crazy, do not brake unexpectedly. Stick to the racing line that the car that is coming up behind you to lap you knows what you are doing. And if the opportunity arises, which is mostly out of corners or on straights, make way and just let him pass very quickly and easily, to not lose time, to not disturb any flow, you know, or maybe other duels, especially when there are 2, 3 or more cars coming up behind you who want to lap you. Just move out of the way, which doesn't mean that you go off track. You just, if you see them approaching, move away from the racing line to let them pass, or you stick on the racing line, maybe lift the throttle a little bit and use the indicator to indicate the cars behind you, okay, cool, he's, you know, slowing down, moving to the left or right, and I can just pass him. One very, if not the most important rule of them all is that we are all in this game together. We are all in this community together. We all love and we enjoy sim racing together. And we want to have the best time possible together. So please, just, you know, take into account the most important aspects, which is just cooperation, fairness, use common sense, be gentle with each other. You know, that's sportsmanship, and that is what makes this community, this hobby of sim racing so great. It's every one of you out there. Now, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful for you. I would really appreciate if you could let me know in the comments what was helpful, if there's anything unclear, or if you have your own tips and tricks to share with the community. Now, Let me just remind you to not forget to ring the sub notification bell to always get a notification when a new video pops up on my channel or when I'm starting my live stream. I would really appreciate if you just can click a thumbs up or subscribe for any future uploads I'm going to make all around Assetto Corsa Competizione and Simracing, not only for beginners but also for enthusiasts. That's it for you today. I thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!